Ebuakwa South Member of Parliament, the Honorable Samuel Atta Akyea. He's joined us on the line. Honorable, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Yes, my pleasure as always.
First of
Thanks
all,
for having me.
Thank you so much. First of all, in the beginning, we noticed a back and forth over the protest from Dampari's lawyer that the other witnesses ought not to be present while the questioning is happening. You insisted that there was nothing wrong with that. They raised issues suggesting that, well, the other witnesses came before the committee alone and came to deliver their statements or respond to questions. Why did you think that the other witnesses ought to be present when they are not even going to cross-examine him?
The very important matter that I was trying to stress was that was not the end of the issue before the committee. We are going to now adduce the evidence. Some of them, we are told, have national security implications. And then the first tip, which came from Chief Bugri Naabu, did not involve the IG. So there's no point in saying that, oh, okay, I have an issue, you have called him in when Bugri Naabu was testifying. It was Bugri Naabu came to authenticate the first tip. Now we have been educated and no, that was a truncated tape. There is a more serious tape that Bugri Naabu did not, deliver to the committee. So if now it's become very necessary that on the first tape, the IG's name is featured strongly and allegation have been made against, why shouldn't we call him that now come and also tell us the side of your story? And when we are telling your side of your story, it doesn't matter at all whether those who are accused who are seated or not. And how is their sitting going to affect the quality of your testimony? And how is it going to dilute what you want to say? So with the greatest of respect, because we are both lawyers, I didn't want to be too quarrelsome, but I didn't see the head or tail of the objection at all.
I know that there are instances where court hearings, there will be an announcement made where some people are asked to get out of the courtroom. You have said that they could simply go to another room and watch on TV screens, but I see in the courtroom some people are asked to get out of the courtroom when it comes to certain trials. Could that not be the same thing Dr. Dampari's team was looking out for from you as chairman?
Yes. Those people, who should not be in the courtroom half the time are the people who have never mounted the witness box. You see? And they are not supposed to hear what is going on or another moment to, it regards some hearing which will be in camera in the judge's chamber or the rest of them. But here we are, with the greatest of respect, that the people are seated and listening to you whilst you are testifying because they need your testimony for the second phase of the interrogation. How can you rightly say that the people who have not even finished the testimony do not hear what you are saying whilst you are seated giving the testimony? That's a little worry I had.
But you could have given them transcripts later, like you do for other committee, for other witnesses.
We know the power of a lawyer. He's watching the demeanor of the IGP. What we call the non-verbal, discernment of a lawyer. You see, so a lawyer looks at a man who is answering a question, and he can glean from his demeanor whether it's a witness of truth or otherwise. So why would you want to shortchange the people who subsequently give, continue with their testimony that they shouldn't hear the IGP speaking? And I asked a question, which I don't believe he had an answer. What was the disadvantage to him when they hear him speaking?
Are you going to, at a point, allow them to cross-examine each other?
We are looking at it critically. Why not? We're looking at it critically. At the end of the day, here you are for the first time. You are facing your accuser. What questions do you want to ask your accuser? And who ran away from the one who is trying to embarrass him without asking him very pertinent questions which will kneel to his innocence? So these are the areas we're looking at critically. And then we might want to say that, well, go ahead and ask him all the questions in the world. Here is the man who was accusing you of all manner of things. You have him. What are you going to do with him? If you have any countervailing evidence, bring it across.
There was an opportunity like that when the IGP said he expected your committee to ask the other witnesses to provide proof of their claim that the tape was with him. I thought at the point you would ask the witnesses to just turn on their microphones and respond.
Well, all that the IGP said, we didn't adduce any evidence. If you were watching him critically, we didn't say, what is the proof of this? What is the proof of that? What is the proof that these people are behind you? And why are they behind you? That they are supporting you? We didn't go there. We were responding to the allegations which will have to have proofs. So what we did for the other individuals, Superintendent Asari, COP Mensa, JP, and the rest of it, we afforded him the same opportunity. And then we have been educated that some of the issues when it comes to adduction of evidence will impinge on national security considerations. So this is a discretion we want to exercise and see. Some of them should be in camera. Some of them we should aid. Why not?
Are you going to still interrogate Dr. Dampare in camera?
I think that will not be ruled out. Seriously speaking, that will not be ruled out at all. And as to whether he will face his accusers, it might not be ruled out as well.
And the other three, will you be questioning them in camera as well in the coming days?
Certainly. It is where we're going to, require of them to substantiate what they said from the beginning. Where is the evidence of this? Where is the evidence of that? Somebody says, the IGP hobnobs with President Mahama consistently. That is when in camera we could say that, well, can you prove this? So if he's unable to prove it, then our findings of fact, we say they were bare allegations, very anemic and empty of every legal significance. That's how it should be.
But if the allegation was made in public, the public ought to hear the responses in public, no?
Well, if they have national security implications, then you know that it's not every conceivable matter which the public should be fed with. Every realm in the world, that thing works. There's not everything in the realm which is for public consumption.
You talk about national security, and in your closing remarks today, you mentioned that the Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa, would be appearing before you on Wednesday. What is the drift? What's the connection? Yes,
the drift is very simple in the sense that there was one witness called Superintendent Asari who said he appeared before the National Investigations Bureau. It's also. So we want to confirm from the minister whether or not this gentleman appeared. And would he want to share some details of what transpired with us? Does it synchronize with what we are doing? Is a witness one of truth, having due regard to the background things is done with NIV? This is the sense of it.
Would that be in public?
It will be in camera. Because when you have a national security minister speaking on matters they did in the background or submarine, it shouldn't be a matter for public consumption. Because national security matters are not matters for public consumption.
When next? Go ahead. And when next should we see your committee sitting in public?
Well, it will be determined by the kind of evidence we can adduce in camera. So what we are attempting to do, that when it becomes necessary that, this is what we've scooped out of the private engagement, and we should continue with the public here, we will do that. Because after all, the press is the fourth estate of the realm, and you shouldn't starve them with information. But you can starve the fourth estate of the realm information if those pieces of information have national security implications.
Daniel Bugri Naabu, the man at the center of all of this, is he going to return for a public questioning on all the matters that are arising?
Well, there's going to be most probably an in-camera engagement for him to come back and we begin to ask him questions. And then everybody who wants to ask him questions will have the opportunity to ask him questions. I think he should come back because at one point he said he taped the conversation. And then the people questioned that what was taped is not the full complement of the conversation. And it's doctored. Now we have one which is supposed to be the comprehensive conversation. He needs to reconcile the two. And then whether is the new tape, so-called, is what transpired in his office. Foundational evidence, yeah.
The statements that were made before your committee, can these statements be used to prosecute any of the witnesses in a court?
I do not think so. Because as they sit as witnesses of parliament, they have immunity and they have privileges. The matters which have been divulged to parliament cannot be, the raw material for subsequent interrogation or investigation or service inquiry or those kind of things.
So then let me ask you what the layman would ask. So what is the use of your committee's work?
Well, essentially, it's part of what we call our remit, which we said it clearly. Is the tape which came out and became viral authentic? We need to find out. Are we able to ascertain whether there was a conspiracy to remove the IGP by reason of probably MPP's agenda to break the eight, thinking that he is the one who is standing as an impediment? That is very important. It's something that we should look at. Then we should also investigate any other matter contained in the audio recording. We should recommend sanctions to persons found culpable where appropriate, and make recommendations for reforms where necessary, and make such other recommendations and consequential orders as the committee may deem appropriate. So these are the 6 legs of the committee's work that we need to go into.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
My joy as always.
That's the Honourable Member of Parliament for Ibo Akwa South, who chairs the Ad Hoc Committee of Parliament investigating the leaked audio tape, which tape talks about or has persons on it planning to remove the Inspector General